What's the first world country in Europe including the UK that looks good from the outside but once you visited or lived you realize it absolutely sucks? UK third world outside of City of London. Belgium was shocked under what condition local people live, take the train from Central Station to airport and you know what I mean. Italy especially Naples and Sicily, rough condition, but people seem happy. USA especially New York, can't get my head around how anyone wants to live here. Very rough condition outside of Manhattan. Portugal Lisbon Alfama district, these buildings piling up look good, but the condition people live there is very poor. I've traveled Europe a lot but I can't say that any country has actually sucked. I've been to cities in other countries that I didn't enjoy but that was largely because they're tourist attractions so they're often congested and noisy. London sucks, but the English countryside and some of the smaller towns are amazing. Dublin is a nightmare but County Cork and Tipperary were beautiful. Amsterdam is probably more fun when you're in your early 20s but the rest of the Netherlands is cool. I refuse to shit on a country that I've spent less than a month in and visited less than 5 of the country. Sure, I've had a few very small negative experiences but people around Western Europe have been very nice to me and I'd be happy to live in any of their fine countries. There were a few cities that I'd visited where 2 days was more than enough time to visit as a tourist but that doesn't mean they suck. I don't hate the US either so maybe I'm easy to please. The UK certainly has its problems as does every country on the planet, but the amount of people saying the UK is their immediate answer is odd to me. I feel most Brits are very self-deprecating and aware of our current situations, such as governmental and economical issues, but I guess we aren't educated on other countries' problems enough to realize that ours are similar if not less so than most other European countries. Italy, specifically the Amalfi Coast. Disgustingly overrun with tourists. The views of the ocean are great, but once you do a 180 and face a town that is overrun with tourists, the Italian food is actually more Mediterranean personal gripe. The little stores are all identical and all selling the exact same ceramics made in China or cheap bottles of limoncello. Netherlands it's grey all day every day. Biking sounds cool until you realize it also rains all day every day and you're damp all the time. It's a bland country, and so is the food. It's not pretty and it's all flat, no landscape whatsoever. Plus there's no real lunchtime because people just eat a sad little sandwich while they are working. Yeah, it has to be the UK. Pretty rough, pretty poor and often the people are bitter and angry. Quality of services is very poor and overpriced. Live in Australia now and although it has its issues, there's really no comparison. Once made a road trip London Bath Exmouth Park Dorset Brighton one of the most beautiful trips ever. Beautiful nature, architecture, friendly people, not so expensive other than London. Looked so good to me. I'd say Sweden. It's very pleasant to visit, but for some reason if the locals find out you're from Finland, they start acting weird and very unfriendly. Not sure why, but it sure did leave a bad impression. Belgium. It's a parody of a country. Basically you take discount France and discount Netherlands, put them together and tell them to get along and make a functioning country. Spoiler, they can't. I've heard that Switzerland is extremely racist towards most foreigners who live there. Sweden used to be pretty bad in racism not so many years ago too, but I don't think they were on purpose. BTW guys, I wrote including the UK because some might see Europe and link it to EU countries which the UK is a part of. So, I included it just to clarify that I mean Europe and not the EU. Wrapping up a month-long trip across Western Europe, Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, France, Spain, and to be honest, I'm shocked in how bad Europe has become. France. It's a pretty country but I just didn't like it there, mainly because the people seem extremely rude just because I can't speak their dumb language. The people of Gibraltar are without doubt the most obnoxious and rude people I've ever encountered. Why any Spaniard would want to work there is beyond me. The United Kingdom, despite its positive image, can be perceived as challenging due to high living costs, unpredictable weather, and other factors. Spain. I love the weather but damn! The taxes hurt like hell and some major cities like Barcelona are horrible and full of crime. I've lived in the Netherlands. Bad weather, worse food, absolute worst general attitude of people there. Would not ever return. I am kind of surprised nobody mentioned Switzerland yet. Very polished on the outside but boy oh boy, the bureaucracy. It'll leave me immigrating ASAP if it sure is me coming back as a tourist afterward. It's the living there that's awful. Mine was France, especially Paris, but they slightly gotten better in recent years so it now goes back to England. Hungary, a fucking dystopian nightmare. A place where democracy, critical thinking, and common sense came to die. The UK is part of Europe, it just isn't part of the European Union. The including the UK bit is very unnecessary. It's true it does rain a lot in London. I get why a lot of the memes are about how grumpy they are all the time. Spain is good for short stay but not for living. Or work, even worse. But still I love it a bit irrationally. When I went to the UK, I could not stand it. I could not wait to get back to the States. Never going again. France, Paris is so dirty, smelly, the French are so rude. Did I forget to mention racist? Italy is great to visit as a tourist, but I cannot see myself living there for some reason. That would be Albania. Oh wait, you said looks good from the outside, scratch that. Germany. It's a decent place but the food there should be considered a war crime. I'm interested in why you thought it was necessary to say including the UK. Paris has a syndrome associated with it for being so bad, so maybe France? Was told Paris is dirty. Rude people. This is what I've been told. Go ahead and name a country in Europe, and that'll be your answer. Montenegro. No, not really, I didn't even know. I'm just guessing. Hands down Italy. It can be great, but it can also be terrible. Ireland, the violence of little kids there is appalling. To quote Monty Python, miserable fat Belgian bastards. Malta. They screw the country over. Completely unsafe. There isn't one. I liked them all better than the US. Pretty much all of them if you're coming from the USA.